The scent of lavender enveloped me even before I opened the front door. Not her perfume. Something else. Something floral and expensive that didn't belong in our house. I stood there with my toolbox in one hand and my keys in the other, breathing it in like evidence. Jessica was in the kitchen, back to me, scrolling through her phone with that particular intensity people have when they're reading something they shouldn't. Her shoulders were tight. When I set the toolbox down, she jumped. "God, Tyler, you scared me," she said, phone disappearing into her pocket faster than seemed natural. "Sorry, long day at the site." I work facilities management for a commercial building company. Cameras, access systems, HVAC monitors, basically anything that makes a building run without people noticing. It's boring work, useful work, the kind of job that makes you invisible at parties when people ask what you do. Jessica manages a surgical clinic downtown. Real career, real respect. She introduces me as my husband who works in maintenance. And there's always a little pause before the word maintenance, like she's swallowing something bitter. "How was your day?" I asked, opening the fridge. "Exhausting. We had a compliance audit. I had to stay late to finish the documentation." She said it smoothly. Practiced. But I'd already noticed the phone bill last week when I was organizing our shared account. There was a number that appeared 47 times in 1 month. Always after 9 p.m. Always on nights she claimed to be working late. I didn't say anything then. I didn't say anything now. "Want me to order dinner?" I asked. "I already ate. Staff meeting ran long, so we got catering." Another smooth lie. Her lipstick was fresh. Not the color she'd worn to work this morning. I'd noticed that too. This was darker. Evening shade. And there was a small stain on her collar that hadn't been there at breakfast. "Cool. I'll just make a sandwich." I watched her scroll through her phone while I ate. She laughed at something, then immediately straightened her face when she remembered I was there. Her thumbs moved fast, deleting something. "We've been married 8 years. We bought this house together when it was a foreclosure, spent 2 years fixing it up on weekends. I installed every light fixture. She picked every paint color. We built something, or I thought we did." "Tyler, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Do you ever feel like we're just going through the motions?" The question landed like a stone in still water. Calculated. She'd been thinking about how to phrase it. "What do you mean?" "Like we're roommates who happen to be married. We don't really connect anymore." I took a bite of my sandwich, chewed slowly, swallowed. "I connect with you." "Do you, though? When was the last time we had a real conversation?" "We're having one now?" She sighed. "Never mind. Forget I said anything." She left the kitchen. I heard her go upstairs, heard the bathroom door close, heard the shower start. I pulled out my phone and opened our home Wi-Fi network settings. There were the usual devices, our laptops, our phones, the smart TV, the thermostat, but there was also a device labeled iPhone 2 that had been connecting intermittently for the past 3 weeks. We only have 2 phones. Both of them were already on the list. I screenshotted the device list and emailed it to myself. Then I finished my sandwich and went down to the basement where I keep my work equipment. I had 4 security cameras in storage from a canceled office installation. Good ones, cloud backup, motion alerts, night vision. I didn't unbox them yet. I just looked at them for a long time, listening to the water run upstairs, thinking about that lavender smell and that unknown phone and that repeated number on the bill. Then I went upstairs and kissed my wife goodnight, like nothing was wrong. Because nothing was wrong. Not yet. The cameras were supposed to be for package theft. That's what I told myself when I bought the mounting brackets on Sunday morning. We'd had 3 deliveries go missing in the past 6 months, enough to justify the expense, enough to make it reasonable. I installed the first one above the front door while Jessica was at her book club. Standard placement, clean angle. The second went in the garage, pointed at the side door we use more than the front. The third I mounted in the hallway, angled toward the living room, disguised behind a decorative shelf. When Jessica came home, I showed her the front door camera. "For the package thieves," I said. "That's smart. Can I see the app?" "I'll set up your access tonight." I never did. The cameras recorded to local storage and backed up to cloud. I tested them for 3 days, making sure the motion detection worked, checking the night vision, confirming the timestamps were accurate. Everything was clean. Everything was admissible. On Wednesday evening, Jessica came home from work and went straight upstairs without greeting me. I checked the garage camera. Her car had pulled in at 6:47 p.m., but her phone location, which I could see through our shared family plan, showed her leaving the clinic at 4:15 p.m. 2.5 hours. Unaccounted. I made dinner. She came down at 7:30, freshly showered, wearing clothes different from what she'd worn to work. "How was your day?" I asked. "Fine. Busy, same routine. We ate in silence. She kept checking her phone, smiling at messages I couldn't see. On Thursday, I installed a fourth camera in the garage, hidden inside an old toolbox on the shelf. Different angle. Then this one caught the interior door and the side window. I activated it at 8 a.m. before leaving for work. At 2:37 p.m., my phone buzzed with a motion alert. I was in a service elevator at a downtown office building, replacing a circuit board on a card reader. I pulled out my phone and opened the camera app. Jessica's car was pulling into the garage. Early. She wasn't supposed to be home for 3 more hours. I watched her get out, walk to the interior door, pause, and look directly at the first garage camera I'd installed. She stared at it for a long moment, then adjusted her hair and went inside. I switched to the hallway camera. She walked through the house like she was checking for something, opened closets, looked behind furniture. Her body language was careful, controlled, like someone sweeping for bugs. Then she went upstairs. I lost visual. 20 minutes later, another car pulled into the driveway. I couldn't see the plates from this angle, but I could see it was a silver Lexus sedan. Expensive. Clean. A man got out. Tall. Dark slacks and a button-down shirt. He looked around the neighborhood once before walking to the garage side door. He knocked twice. Jessica opened it immediately. She'd changed clothes again, a dress I'd never seen before. They didn't hug. They didn't even talk. They just went inside together. I watched the timestamp, 3:04 p.m. to 5:42 p.m., 2 hours and 38 minutes. When Jessica left again, the man followed 5 minutes later. Professional spacing, practiced. I saved the footage to 3 different locations and went back to work. That night, I acted like everything was normal. I asked about her day. She told me about a difficult surgery schedule and a vendor meeting. She said she'd worked through lunch. I nodded and asked if she wanted to watch a movie. "I'm tired," she said. "I think I'll just read in bed." I stayed downstairs and reviewed the footage again. I watched her check the camera, watched her wait by the door, watched her let him in, watched the clock. Then I opened a notebook and wrote down every detail. Date, time, vehicle description, duration, the dress, the way she looked around before opening the door. Evidence isn't dramatic. It's boring and repetitive and tedious. That's why it works. I watched the clip 7 times before I finally blinked. The video was only 42 seconds long, but those 42 seconds contained an entire confession. Jessica wasn't just cheating. She was performing. This was rehearsed. Routine. The timestamp showed Friday afternoon, 2:17 p.m. I was at a job site, installing access badges for a new medical office. Jessica was supposed to be at the clinic until 6. The garage camera caught her pulling in. She sat in the car for 3 full minutes, checking her reflection in the rearview mirror, reapplying lipstick. Not the professional shade she wore to work. Something darker. Date night color. She got out, opened the back door, and pulled out a small shopping bag I'd never seen before. Then she went inside. I switched to the hallway camera. She walked straight to the downstairs bathroom, carrying the bag. When she came out 12 minutes later, she was wearing a completely different outfit, a black wrap dress that definitely wasn't workplace appropriate. Her hair was down. Her makeup was heavier. She looked like someone getting ready for an expensive dinner. But she didn't leave. She walked to the kitchen and pulled out her phone. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but I could read her body language. Laughing, leaning against the counter, playing with her hair, all the things she used to do with me back when we first started dating. At 2:51 p.m., the silver Lexus pulled up. This time I got a better angle. The man who stepped out was probably mid-40s, fit, well-dressed. He had the look of someone who spent money on personal training and haircuts. Wedding ring on his left hand. He walked to the garage door like he'd done it 100 times. 2 knocks. She opened immediately. No hesitation, no awkward greeting. She just stepped aside and let him in. They disappeared from the hallway camera's view, heading toward the living room or the stairs. I switched between camera feeds, but I'd lost them. The angle wasn't right for the living room, and I had no cameras upstairs. I made a mental note. If I needed to expand coverage, I knew where to add them, but I didn't need to see what happened next. I already knew. The Lexus left at 5:23 p.m., Jessica's car left at 5:47 p.m., professional spacing again. Different routes. When she came home at 6:15, she was back in her work clothes, hair up, minimal makeup. She walked in carrying her work bag and a coffee from the expensive place downtown. "Hey," she said, kissing my cheek. "Sorry I'm late. Crazy day." "No problem. I just got home too." She went upstairs to change. I stayed in the kitchen, staring at my phone, reviewing the timeline. 2:17 p.m., arrives home early, 2:29 p.m., changes clothes, chat video 1 p.m. He arrives 5:23 p.m. He leaves 5:47 p.m. She leaves 6:15 p.m. She returns in work clothes she'd gone somewhere to change back. A gas station bathroom, a coffee shop, somewhere with privacy and no cameras. This wasn't an impulsive affair. This was logistics, planning, operational security. I went down to the basement and pulled out my work laptop. I logged into our shared phone account and pulled the full bill. That repeated number appeared again, 49 times last month. I cross-referenced the dates and times with my camera footage. Perfect overlap. I downloaded the bill and saved it. Then I did something I'd been avoiding. I called the number from my work phone. It rang twice. Then I heard a phone vibrate somewhere in our house. Not Jessica's usual ringtone, something different, quieter. I followed the sound upstairs. It was coming from the guest room closet, behind a stack of storage boxes. I found it on the third ring. A cheap Android phone, no case, no personalization. A burner. The screen showed my work number calling. I hung up. The phone went silent. I put it back exactly where I found it and went downstairs. Jessica was in the kitchen, cooking dinner, humming to herself. "Smells good," I said. "Chicken stir-fry. I thought we could use a real meal for once." She smiled at me. Genuine warmth. Like she actually cared. And that's when I realized something that made my stomach turn. She wasn't guilty. She was happy. This wasn't destroying her. It was fulfilling her. I smiled back and set the table. I didn't need a hacker. I needed a billing password. Saturday morning, while Jessica was at yoga, I sat at our kitchen table with my laptop and a cup of coffee and did the most boring investigative work imaginable. I logged into every shared account we had. Phone bill, check. Internet service, check. Utilities, check. Streaming services, check. Cloud storage, check. The cloud storage was the gold mine. Jessica had automatic photo backup enabled on her phone. She'd set it up years ago and apparently forgotten about it, because the shared family folder contained every photo her phone had taken in the past 3 months. Most of them were boring. Work documents, clinic interiors, lunch salads. But there were also photos she'd definitely deleted from her phone. I could tell because they appeared in the backup folder, but not in her device gallery when I'd casually glanced at her phone earlier that week. 17 photos of a hotel room, upscale, downtown, room service trays, a view of the river. 23 photos of the man from the Lexus. Candid shots, him laughing, him sleeping, him getting dressed, intimate angles, comfortable familiarity. 4 photos of them together. Selfies. His arm around her, her head on his shoulder, both of them smiling like people who had nothing to hide because they'd successfully hidden everything. I downloaded all of them, backed them up to 3 different locations. External hard drive, personal cloud, encrypted email to myself. Then I did the tedious part. I created a spreadsheet. Column A, date. Column B, time. Column C, phone call to repeated number. Column D, photo backup timestamp. Column E, camera footage timestamp. Column F, location data from phone GPS. I worked through the entire past month, cross-referencing everything. The pattern was obvious. Every Thursday afternoon, every other Tuesday, occasional Friday mornings. The repeated phone number belonged to someone named Derek Harmon. I found that out by doing a reverse lookup. Completely legal, completely boring. His LinkedIn showed him as a pharmaceutical sales consultant. Married, 2 kids, big house in the suburbs, active in his church, perfect life, perfect family. Perfect lie. I took a screenshot of his LinkedIn profile, saved it. Then I found his wife on Facebook, Amanda Harmon, former nurse, now stay-at-home mom. Her page was public, recent posts about her kids' soccer games, photos of family dinners, a picture from last week of Derek in a suit, heading to a business trip. The date of that business trip matched a Thursday when Jessica had claimed to work late. The hotel room photos were from the same day. I took screenshots of everything, backed them up. Then I tested a theory. I took out my personal phone and called Derek's number. The number Jessica had called 49 times. It rang 4 times. And then I heard it, a faint vibration from upstairs. The burner phone. I hung up and went upstairs. The phone was right where I'd left it, hidden in the guest room closet. I pulled it out and checked the call log. My number. Just now. Dozens of calls from Jessica's number, texts, hundreds of them. I read through them methodically, taking screenshots every few messages. They were careful. No names, no explicit details. But the context was clear. Scheduling. Sweet nothings. Complaints about their respective spouses. One text from Jessica, dated 3 weeks ago. He doesn't even notice when I'm gone. It's like I'm furniture. One text from Derek, dated last Tuesday. Amanda thinks I'm at a conference. We have all night. I photographed everything, then I put the phone back. When Jessica came home from yoga, I was in the garage organizing tools. How was your morning? She asked. Productive, got some things sorted out. That's good. I'm going to shower. I waited until I heard the water running. Then I took out my laptop and composed an email to myself with everything I'd gathered. Camera footage, 15 clips, total 3.2 hours. Phone bill with highlighted repeated number. Cloud photos, 44 images. Screenshot spreadsheet with timeline correlation. LinkedIn and Facebook profiles. Burner phone photos, 127 images. Text message screenshots, 89 pages. Subject line, archive, do not delete. I sent it, backed it up again, printed key documents, and stored them at my office. The shower turned off upstairs. I went back to organizing tools, whistling a song I didn't really know. Evidence isn't dramatic. It's methodical, it's redundant, it's boring. That's why it destroys people. Monday evening, Jessica came home and froze in the hallway. She was staring at the decorative shelf, where the third camera was partially visible if you knew where to look. Her face went through several expressions in rapid succession: confusion, recognition, calculation, panic. Tyler. Yeah, I called from the kitchen. How long have we had cameras? I walked into the hallway, drying my hands on a towel. A week. Remember? The package theft problem. A week. She repeated it like she was doing math in her head. Just a week? Well, 8 days. I installed them last Sunday. Why? She was staring at the camera now, really seeing it, understanding exactly what angle it covered. The hallway, the living room entrance, the path from the garage door. Where else? She asked. Where else what? Where else did you put cameras? Front door, garage, this one. Why are you asking? She tried to smile. Just curious. I didn't realize we had that many. We got a 3-pack deal. Made sense to use them all. I paused. Is something wrong? No, I didn't know. She went upstairs quickly, her footsteps heavier than usual. I heard the bedroom door close. Then I heard her voice, muffled, talking to someone on the phone. I pulled out my phone and opened the camera app. Checked the footage from earlier today. There it was. 2:45 p.m. Silver Lexus pulling up. 2:47 p.m. Derek walking to the side door. 2:48 p.m. Jessica letting him in, wearing that black dress. They'd been in the house for 2 hours while I was at work. I made a copy of today's footage and added it to the archive. 20 minutes later, Jessica came downstairs. Her face was composed, but I could see the tension in her shoulders. Tyler, can we talk about the cameras? Sure. What about them? I just think maybe we should have discussed it first. It feels invasive. Invasive? Like you're spying on me. I let that sit for a moment. I'm protecting our packages. You said it was a good idea on Sunday. I know, but I didn't realize they recorded everything. That's what security cameras do. Can you show me the app? I want to see what they're recording. Of course. I handed her my phone. She opened the app, navigated to the camera list, saw the 3 cameras. Her fingers hesitated over the footage archive. Can I see today? She asked. Sure. Which time? I don't know. Just random. I reached over and pulled up the footage from 2:45 p.m. Her face appeared on screen, walking through the hallway in her work clothes, heading to the kitchen. Not the real 2:45. That clip was from last Wednesday. I'd queued it up beforehand, just in case. She watched for 30 seconds, then handed me back the phone. Okay, I guess it's fine. Did you want me to delete something? No, it's fine. She went to the bedroom. I heard her moving around, opening drawers, closing them. Looking for something? 10 minutes later, she came back downstairs, trying to look casual. Tyler, I need to run to the store. We're out of milk. We have a full gallon in the fridge. Oh, right. She laughed, but it sounded forced. I'm going for a drive. Need to clear my head. She left before I could respond. I waited 5 minutes, then pulled out my laptop. Logged into the camera footage, found today's real clip from 2:45 p.m., downloaded it to a USB drive, uploaded it to 3 separate cloud accounts, emailed it to myself with the subject line, Jessica, Monday, Derek. Then I did what I'd been planning since yesterday. I looked up Amanda Harmon's email. It wasn't hard. She ran a small home baking business, and her contact information was public. I composed an email, short, direct, professional. Mrs. Harmon, my name is Tyler Grant. We haven't met, but I believe our spouses know each other through work. I've recently discovered information that I think you should be aware of regarding your husband Derek. I have video evidence and phone records that indicate an ongoing relationship between Derek and my wife Jessica. I'm attaching selected footage and documentation. I understand this is difficult, and I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this. If you'd like to discuss this further, my number is below. I attached 3 video clips. 2 showed Derek's Lexus arriving at my house. 1 showed him and Jessica entering together, timestamp clearly visible. I also attached the spreadsheet with the phone records highlighted. I read the email twice, made sure the tone was respectful, made sure the evidence was clear. Then I clicked send. I heard Jessica's car pull up 10 minutes later. She came inside, face flushed. "Tyler, I need to talk to you about something." "What's up?" "I think we should take down the cameras. I've been thinking about it, and I just don't feel comfortable with them." "The cameras I installed 8 days ago?" "Yes." "The cameras that are already paid for and installed?" "I'll pay you back. I just don't want them anymore." I looked at her for a long moment. "Jessica, why don't you want the cameras?" "I told you. They make me uncomfortable." "Uncomfortable how?" "Like I'm being watched in my own home." "You are being watched by security cameras. That's their purpose." "Tyler, please." "Did something happen today?" Her face went pale. "What do you mean?" "You seem really upset about cameras that you were fine with yesterday." "I wasn't fine with them yesterday. I just didn't say anything." "So for the past 8 days, you've been uncomfortable, but you didn't mention it until tonight?" "I'm mentioning it now." I nodded slowly. "Okay, I'll think about it." "Can you just turn them off?" "I'll think about it," I repeated. She stared at me, and I watched her trying to decide whether to push harder or let it go. Finally, she went upstairs without another word. I sat on the couch and checked my email. Amanda Harmon had already responded. "Mr. Grant, thank you for contacting me. I've reviewed the footage and records. I'd like to discuss this further. Can you call me at the number below? Tonight, if possible. Amanda," I called. She answered on the first ring. "Mr. Grant?" "Yes." "Please, call me Tyler." "Tyler, I just watched those videos." Her voice was steady, but I could hear the crack beneath it. "How long has this been going on?" "Based on the phone records, at least 2 months, possibly longer." 2 months. She was quiet for a moment. "I thought he was working late, traveling. He's been so attentive lately, bringing me flowers, taking the kids to their games." "I'm sorry." "Don't be. You didn't do this. They did." Her voice hardened. "Do you have more footage?" "Hours of it, multiple angles, different dates. I also have text messages from a burner phone Derek's been using." "A burner phone?" "Jessica has one too. They've been careful. Not careful enough, but careful." "I want to see everything." "I'll send you a link to a shared folder. Everything's there." "Thank you." She paused. "Tyler, what are you planning to do?" "I'm planning to make sure this costs them everything it should cost them." "Good. I want to help." I smiled, even though she couldn't see me. "I was hoping you'd say that." We talked for 40 minutes. By the end of the call, we had a plan. 2 days later, Jessica tried to delete the camera footage. I watched her do it from my office, monitoring the camera app remotely. She was in the garage, standing on a chair, reaching for the camera mounted on the shelf. She found the memory card slot, popped it out, deleted the files. Then she went inside and tried to access the app on my phone, which I'd deliberately left on the kitchen counter. She couldn't get past the password. She tried 4 times before giving up. That evening, when I came home, she was smiling. "How was work?" she asked. "Good. Productive. You?" "Same." We had dinner. She was relaxed now, chatty. She told me about a funny thing that happened at the clinic. She laughed at my jokes. She thought she'd fixed it. Later, when she was in the shower, I sat on the couch and pulled up my laptop, opened the camera app. All the footage was still there, backed up to cloud storage. The memory card deletion had done nothing. I made a new folder and labeled it Jessica, Attempted Destruction of Evidence. I added today's footage of her deleting files. Then I sent Amanda a text. She just tried to delete everything. It didn't work. Amanda's response came immediately. "Good. Neither will Derek when he tries." I leaned back and closed my eyes. This was only the beginning of their troubles. Because next, I was going to make sure everyone knew exactly what kind of people they were. You can even hear a marriage falling apart over the phone. Amanda Harmon called me Wednesday evening while Jessica was supposedly working late. In reality, based on her phone's location data, she was at that downtown hotel again. "Tyler, I need to show you something," Amanda said. Her voice had changed since our first conversation. The shock was gone. Now she just sounded cold, efficient. What did you find? Derek has a tablet he keeps in his car. For client presentations, he says, but it's synced to his iCloud account. I have access to the family sharing. You can see his photos? All of them. Every deleted photo gets stored for 30 days before it's permanently erased. Tyler, there are pictures going back 6 months. 6 months, not 2. 6. Send them to me, I said. I already did. Check your email. I opened my laptop. The email was there. Subject line, Evidence Package 1. Inside were 43 photos. Hotels, restaurants, my house, rooms I didn't have cameras in yet, Derek and Jessica in bed, Derek and Jessica on what looked like a weekend trip, beach photos, wine photos, intimate photos that would be perfectly innocent if they were with their actual spouses. But they weren't. There's more, Amanda said. I checked his credit card statements. Separate card, separate account he thought I didn't know about. Hotel charges, dinner charges, jewelry store charges. Jewelry? A bracelet, $1,400. Purchased 6 weeks ago. Her voice was bitter. I thought he bought it for me. It never arrived. Now I know why. I checked Jessica's jewelry box in my mind. There was a new gold bracelet she'd been wearing. She said her friend gave it to her for her birthday. Her birthday was 4 months ago. Amanda, I'm sorry. Stop apologizing. You didn't do this, but we're going to fix it. What are you thinking? I've been researching. Did you know Derek's company has a strict ethics policy about client relationships, conflicts of interest, personal relationships affecting professional judgment? It's all in the employee handbook. Jessica works at a surgical clinic, and Derek's company supplies their pharmaceutical inventory. He's their vendor rep. It's literally in his contract that he can't have personal relationships with client staff. It's a fireable offense. I sat up straighter. Can you prove the connection? I can do better than that. I can prove he gave her preferential pricing to win the contract. I found the emails. He knocked 15% off the standard rate to secure the clinic as a client. That was 8 months ago. 8 months before the affair photos started, but probably not before the affair itself. He used his position to seduce her, I said. Or she used her position to get a better deal, and it turned into something else. Either way, both of them violated professional ethics. Her clinic could lose their preferred vendor status. He could lose his job, and both of them could face accusations of conflict of interest. I smiled. You've been busy. I'm a nurse, Tyler. We're trained to document everything. She paused. I also called a divorce attorney, filed the paperwork yesterday. Derek doesn't know yet. When are you serving him? That's the question I wanted to ask you. I think we should coordinate. Maximum impact. Hit them both at the same time so they can't warn each other. I thought about it. There's a medical conference next Friday. Jessica mentioned it last week. Big charity gala, all the local healthcare professionals. She's been planning what to wear. Derek will be there. He sponsors it every year. Lots of client schmoozing. Perfect. Public venue, professional setting, all their colleagues watching. I like the way you think. Amanda's voice had an edge now. But Tyler, I want you to understand something. I'm not doing this out of spite. I'm doing this because they need to face consequences. Real consequences. Not just an apology and couples therapy. They need to lose something that matters. I agree. Good. Then let's make sure they lose everything. We spent the next hour planning. By the end of the call, we had a timeline, a document package, and a distribution list of exactly who needed to receive what information and when. Amanda would handle Derek's employer. I would handle Jessica's clinic administration. We'd both handle our respective divorces. And we'd coordinate the timing so that Friday night, at that gala, with everyone they knew watching, the whole thing would come crashing down. One more thing, Amanda said before we hung up. Derek's done this before. What? I went through old emails, found messages from 2 years ago. A woman named Christine. Same pattern. Late nights, business trips, jewelry charges. It lasted 4 months before she ended it. Did you know? No. He hit it perfectly. But now I'm wondering how many others there were. How many times he did this while I was home with our kids. I didn't have an answer for that. I called Christine, Amanda continued. She still lives in the area, works at a different clinic now. She confirmed everything, said Derek told her he was unhappy in his marriage, said he was going to leave me, never did, of course. He told Jessica the same thing. I saw the texts. They're liars, Tyler, professional liars. And they're good at it. That's why we have to be better. After we hung up, I sat in the dark for a while, thinking about patterns. Jessica had probably been lying to me for months before I noticed. Small lies, building up, creating a foundation for bigger ones. How long had I been furniture in her life? How long had she looked at me and seen nothing worth respecting? My phone buzzed. A text from Jessica. "Staying late again? Don't wait up." I checked the camera feeds. Her car wasn't at the clinic. It was at the hotel parking garage. I texted back, "Okay, be safe." Then I opened my laptop and started drafting the email that would go to her clinic administrator. Professional tone, factual presentation, attached evidence, no emotion, just documentation. Subject line, ethics violation report, Jessica Grant, clinic manager. I didn't send it yet. I saved it as a draft. Friday was 6 days away. That was plenty of time to make sure every piece was in place. The twist came on Thursday afternoon when Amanda called me from her car, voice tight with controlled anger. "Tyler, we have a bigger problem." What happened? I confronted Derek last night. I couldn't wait anymore. I showed him the photos, the credit card statements, everything. My stomach dropped. "Amanda, we were supposed to wait until Friday." "I know, I'm sorry, I couldn't sit across from him at dinner one more time pretending I didn't know." She took a shaky breath. "But that's not the problem. The problem is what he told me." "What did he say?" "He said it wasn't his idea. He said Jessica pursued him, aggressively. And when I called him a liar, he showed me texts that prove it." "What texts?" "Jessica initiating everything, Jessica suggesting the hotel, Jessica asking him to help her secure better pricing for her clinic. She played him, Tyler. She used him to advance her career, and when he tried to end it last month, she threatened to report him to his company for harassment." I sat down. That doesn't make sense. The affair started 8 months ago. She couldn't have been planning. That's what I thought. But then I looked at the timeline again. Jessica got her promotion to clinic manager 9 months ago. Derek's company became their vendor 8 months ago. The affair photos start at 7 months. Tyler, she built a strategy. To do what? To secure her position. The clinic was struggling financially. They needed better supplier pricing to stay competitive. Jessica found a way to get it. Seduce the vendor rep, get preferential treatment, use the savings to look like a hero to her bosses. The affair was secondary. The career move was primary. I thought about Jessica's recent behavior, the confidence, the way she talked about work like she'd conquered something. Her promotion had come with a significant raise and a lot more respect. She'd been proud of herself, because she'd earned it by manipulating Derek. "There's more," Amanda said. "Derek told me Jessica's boss knows." "Knows what?" "About the arrangement. Maybe not about the affair, but definitely about the preferential pricing. Derek said Jessica's supervisor specifically requested he work with Jessica to negotiate favorable terms. The supervisor is a woman named Patricia Reeves. She's the clinic director. I pulled up the clinic's website. Patricia Reeves. 50-something, professional photo, MBA from a good school, 20 years in healthcare administration. You think Patricia sanctioned this? I think Patricia looked the other way, because it benefited the clinic. And now Jessica has leverage over both Derek and Patricia. If Derek reports her, she reports him for the ethics violation. If Patricia admits she knew, the clinic faces regulatory problems. So Jessica built herself a perfect trap? Exactly. She's not the victim here. She's the architect. I leaned back in my chair, recalculating everything. I'd assumed Jessica was weak, impulsive, caught up in something that got out of control. But she wasn't. She was calculating. Strategic. She'd turned an affair into a business tool and covered herself on every side. Amanda, does Derek have proof that Patricia knew? He has emails, vague ones, but clear enough. Patricia suggesting Derek work directly with Jessica. Patricia praising Jessica for improving vendor relations. Patricia approving the new contract without pushing back on the pricing. Send me those emails. Already done. I opened my email. There they were, professionally worded, carefully phrased, but the implications were obvious to anyone looking. Patricia Reeves had let Jessica use her position to seduce a vendor for financial benefit, and that meant Patricia was just as vulnerable as Jessica. Tyler, what are you thinking? Amanda asked. I'm thinking we don't just take down Jessica and Derek. We take down everyone who enabled this, everyone who benefited. Patricia could lose her license. Good. The clinic could face investigations. Even better. Tyler, Amanda, they all chose this. Jessica chose to manipulate Derek. Derek chose to give preferential treatment. Patricia chose to look the other way. They all gambled that no one would find out. They lost. She was quiet for a moment. You're right, but Derek's trying to make a deal. What kind of deal? He's offering to cooperate. Give me everything, testify if needed. He wants to be the victim instead of the villain. What did you tell him? I told him I'd think about it. But Tyler, if Derek flips, we have everything. Every email, every text, every transaction. He'll corroborate everything we've found. I thought about it. Derek as an ally was useful. Derek as a co-conspirator who'd been manipulated was even more useful. Tell him yes, I said. But make it clear. Full cooperation means full exposure. He doesn't get to hide behind Jessica. He admits his role, takes his consequences, and helps us take down everyone else. Done. We hung up. I sat at my desk staring at my computer screen, reframing everything I thought I knew. Jessica wasn't a cheater having an affair. She was a professional operative executing a plan, and that changed everything. My phone buzzed, a text from Jessica. Conference tomorrow night. I'll be home late getting ready. Don't forget we're leaving at 6. She wanted me to go to the gala with her. She wanted me to stand next to her while she networked with all the people she'd deceived, playing the role of supportive husband while she collected professional accolades built on lies. I texted back, wouldn't miss it. Then I opened a new document and started writing everything down. The real timeline, the real strategy, the real crime. Because tomorrow night, when Jessica walked into that gala expecting triumph, she was going to get something very different. She was going to get consequences. I followed them like a ghost with a rent payment. Friday evening, 3 hours before the gala, I told Jessica I had to run to the office to pick up something I'd forgotten. She was in the bathroom, doing her hair, wearing a towel and irritation. Tyler, we're supposed to leave in 2 hours. I'll be back in 40 minutes, promise. I wasn't going to the office. I was going to the hotel parking garage downtown because Jessica's location showed her phone was at the clinic, but Derek's car was at the Hampton Inn on 4th Street, and I wanted to see if they were stupid enough to meet one more time before everything ended. They were. I parked on the 3rd level, tucked between a minivan and a pickup truck, with a clear view of the elevator. My phone was mounted on the dashboard, camera app ready. At 4:47 p.m., the silver Lexus pulled in. Derek parked near the elevator. He sat in his car for a minute, checking his phone, running his hand through his hair. Nervous energy. At 4:53 p.m., Jessica's car appeared. She wasn't supposed to leave the clinic until 5:30. But here she was, driving into a hotel parking garage wearing what looked like a nice blouse and slacks, not the dress she'd shown me this morning. She parked 2 spots away from Derek. They both got out. Didn't look at each other. Derek walked to the elevator first. Jessica followed 30 seconds later. Amateur hour. I waited 2 minutes, then got out of my car and moved toward the stairwell. I took the stairs down 1 level, positioned myself behind a concrete pillar with a view of the elevator bank. 7 minutes later, they came back down. Together this time. Derek was carrying a garment bag. Jessica had a small overnight case. They were changing clothes here, getting ready for the gala separately so they could arrive separately and pretend they'd never seen each other. I took 3 photos. Clear shots, faces visible, timestamp accurate. They stood by Jessica's car, talking. Jessica looked stressed. Derek kept touching her arm, trying to calm her down. She pulled away. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I could read the body language. Fight. Then Derek grabbed her wrist. Not hard, just insistent. Jessica jerked away and said something sharp. Derek's face went dark. He stepped closer. I pulled out my phone and started recording video. Derek was in her space now, backing her against her car. She put her hand on his chest, pushing back. He grabbed her other wrist. That's when I decided I'd seen enough. I stepped out from behind the pillar and walked toward them, footsteps echoing off the concrete. Derek saw me first. He dropped Jessica's wrists and stepped back, face going from anger to confusion. Jessica turned, saw me, went white. Tyler. Her voice was small, scared. I stopped 10 feet away, phone still recording. Interesting place to get ready for a gala. Derek found his voice. Who the hell are you? I'm Tyler, Jessica's husband. I looked at Jessica. You remember, the furniture. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Derek looked between us, understanding clicking into place. You're the guy whose house you've been visiting every Thursday, yeah. Derek took a step toward me. Listen, man, this isn't what it looks like. It looks like you were grabbing my wife in a parking garage while you're both supposed to be getting ready for a professional event. What part am I getting wrong? Tyler, please, Jessica said. Let me explain. Explain what? How you've been using Derek to get better pricing for your clinic? How you threatened to report him when he tried to end it? How Patricia Reeves looked the other way because it saved the clinic money? Jessica's face went from white to gray. Derek's face went from confused to panicked. How do you... Derek started. I know everything. Camera footage, phone records, text messages, credit card statements, emails, hotel receipts, cloud photo backups, everything. I held up my phone, including this video of you grabbing my wife 30 seconds ago. Derek lunged. Not smart. I stepped aside, let him stumble past me, grabbed his shoulder and shoved him into the concrete pillar. Not hard enough to injure. Hard enough to send a message. Derek bounced off the pillar and spun around, fist raised. Don't, I said. There are cameras in this garage. You throw a punch, you're on video assaulting someone who hasn't touched you. Derek lowered his fist. His face was red, breathing hard. Tyler, please, Jessica said again. Can we talk about this somewhere else? Why? Uncomfortable having this conversation in public? Afraid someone might see? Tyler, save it. I'm done listening to you lie. I looked at Derek. You should know Amanda filed for divorce yesterday. She has everything too, and she's willing to testify about your ethics violations if you don't cooperate. Derek's face crumpled. She can't. She already did. Your company's HR department is getting a very detailed report Monday morning. You can't do this, Derek said. I already did. I smiled. See you at the gala. I walked back to my car, got in, started the engine. In my rearview mirror, I watched Jessica chase after me, heels clicking on the concrete. She was shouting something, but I was already pulling away. My phone buzzed. Amanda. Derek just called me in a panic. What happened? I texted back. Preview of coming attractions. Her response? Perfect. See you at 7. I drove home, parked in the garage, and went inside. I had 90 minutes until the gala. I took a shower, put on my suit, fixed my tie. Jessica came home 20 minutes later. I heard her car screech into the driveway, heard her run inside. Tyler! I came downstairs, adjusting my cufflinks. She stopped at the bottom of the stairs, still in her work clothes, makeup smudged, breathing hard. Tyler, please, we need to talk about this. There's nothing to talk about. I can explain. You can't. Tyler, I made a mistake. You made a choice. Multiple choices. Over months. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern. I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. She started crying. Real tears. Convincing performance. Tyler, please. I love you. We can fix this. I looked at her. Really looked at her. This woman I'd spent 8 years with, built a house with, planned a future with, and I felt nothing. Get dressed, I said. We have a gala to attend. You still want to go? I don't want to go. But we're going. Tyler, get dressed, Jessica. We're leaving in 40 minutes. She stared at me, trying to find the angle, trying to figure out what I was planning. She wouldn't figure it out. Not until it was too late. I didn't touch him. I touched his sense of safety. Saturday morning, before the gala, I did something simple and perfectly legal that would make Derek Harmon feel like the walls were closing in. I mailed him a letter. Not an email, not a text, a physical letter, sent to his home address, plain envelope, no return address, just a single page inside with 3 items. 1, a photo of his Lexus in my driveway, time-stamped and dated. 2, a printed screenshot of his credit card statement showing the jewelry purchase. 3, a single sentence. Everyone will know. That was it. No threats, no demands, just certainty. Amanda told me he opened it while she was standing right there. She watched his face go pale, watched him crumple the paper and throw it in the trash, watched him try to pretend it was junk mail. Then she watched him go outside and check his car for tracking devices. He found one under the wheel well. Not because I put one there, because he was paranoid enough to imagine one. He spent an hour in the driveway, searching every inch of his car, convinced I'd planted something. Amanda called me, laughing. He's losing his mind. Good. That's the point. What else are you planning? Nothing illegal, just consistent pressure. That afternoon, while Jessica was getting ready for the gala, I sent Derek an email from an anonymous account. Subject line, for your review. The body of the email was empty. The attachment was a PDF. 17 pages, every photo from the cloud backup, every text message, every hotel receipt, every credit card charge, all of it organized chronologically with timestamps and locations. A complete record of his affair, formatted like a legal document. I didn't need to explain what it was for. He'd figure it out. Then I did something small and petty that I'm not proud of but won't apologize for. I called Derek's office and left a message with the receptionist. Hi, this is Michael from Sterling Hotel calling for Derek Harmon. We found a personal item left in one of our rooms last month and wanted to return it. Could you have him call us back? There was no Michael, there was no lost item. But Derek would hear that message, and he'd spend the rest of the day wondering which hotel called, wondering what item, wondering who else heard. Small cuts. That's what fear is. Not one big injury. 1,000 small cuts that won't stop bleeding. At 5:30 p.m., I was in the garage when Jessica came downstairs. She looked beautiful. Royal blue dress, perfect hair, professional smile. She'd done her armor. Ready? I asked. Tyler, are you sure you want to do this? We could stay home. Talk this through. We're going. Why? Because I want to watch you try to hold it together. Her smile faltered. That's cruel. No. Cruel was lying to me for 6 months while you used another man to advance your career. This is just observation. We drove to the hotel in silence. Jessica kept checking her phone. I knew what she was doing, texting Derek, trying to coordinate, trying to control the situation. Good luck with that. When we pulled up to the valet, Jessica touched my arm. Tyler, please, whatever you're planning, don't. I looked at her hand on my arm. The same hand that had touched Derek, the same hand that had deleted evidence, the same hand that had signed the contract with the better pricing. I moved my arm away. We should go inside. You don't want to be late for your big night. We walked into the hotel. The gala was in the main ballroom. 200 people, cocktail hour, auction tables, speeches, all of Jessica's colleagues, all of Derek's clients. Perfect. Jessica tensed beside me as we entered the room. Her eyes scanned the crowd. Looking for Derek. Looking for threats. I saw Amanda first. She was standing near the bar, wearing a black dress, looking calm and collected. When she saw me, she nodded once. Then I saw Derek. He was in the far corner, talking to a group of people from his company. He looked stressed, kept glancing at his phone. Jessica saw him too. She grabbed my arm. Tyler, I need to use the restroom. You just got here. I need to freshen up. No. She stared at me. No? You're not leaving my side tonight. We're here together, remember? Supportive husband, professional wife, perfect couple. Her jaw tightened. Tyler? Smile, Jessica. Your boss just walked in. Patricia Reeves entered the ballroom, immediately surrounded by colleagues. Jessica's face went rigid. Want to go say hello? I asked. No. Really? She's the one you got the better contract for. Shouldn't you thank her? Tyler, stop. Stop what? Being supportive? A waiter passed with champagne. I grabbed 2 glasses, handed one to Jessica. To honesty, I said. She didn't toast. She just stood there, glass trembling in her hand. I saw Amanda moving through the crowd, saw her stop next to Derek, saw Derek's face go white as she said something I couldn't hear. Then I saw Patricia notice them, saw her expression change from friendly to concerned. The pieces were moving into place. Tyler, Jessica whispered. What did you do? Me? Nothing. I smiled. I just told the truth, to everyone who needed to hear it. Her face went pale. You didn't. Check your email. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands, opened her email, scrolled down, stopped. The email I'd sent to Patricia, to HR, to the clinic's board of directors. All of them. Sent at 6:45 p.m. 15 minutes ago. Subject line. Ethics violation report. Jessica Grant and Patricia Reeves. Body. Complete documentation. Video evidence. Phone records. Financial transactions. The whole story. Jessica's phone slipped from her hand. I caught it before it hit the floor. Should we go talk to Patricia? I asked. I think she might have some questions. Jessica was shaking now. Tyler, please. Or we could talk to Derek's boss. I think he's the one in the gray suit near the auction table. Tyler. Or we could just stay here and watch what happens when everyone reads their email. I checked my watch. Should be opening them right about now. Patricia's phone buzzed. She pulled it out, looked at the screen. Her face changed. Derek's boss's phone buzzed. He excused himself from his conversation and walked toward the hallway. 3 other people checked their phones, then 5, then 10. Jessica was crying now. Quiet tears, ruining her makeup. Tyler, how could you? How could I? I looked at her. How could you? I set my champagne glass on a nearby table. I'm going to get some air. You should probably talk to Patricia. She's heading this way. I walked away. Left Jessica standing there as Patricia approached, face tight with controlled fury. I didn't look back. Sunday morning, I showed up at Derek's house. Not to fight, to deliver papers. Amanda had given me the address. She'd moved out yesterday, taking the kids to her sister's place. The house was empty except for Derek, who I knew was home because his Lexus was in the driveway and the lights were on inside. I parked on the street and walked up to the front door. It was one of those perfect suburban houses with perfect landscaping and a perfect two-car garage. The American dream, built on lies. I knocked. Derek opened the door in sweatpants and a t-shirt. He looked like he hadn't slept. Red eyes, unshaved, defeated. When he saw me, his expression went from exhausted to terrified. "What are you doing here?" "We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you." "Then just listen." I held up an envelope. "These are divorce papers. Jessica will be receiving hers tomorrow. I wanted you to see yours first." "You're serving me. I'm not your spouse." "No, these are Amanda's. She wanted me to deliver them personally." I handed him the envelope. He took it automatically, staring at it like it might explode. "Derek, you're going to lose your job. Your wife, your house, your reputation, everything you built is going to collapse." "I know," he said quietly. "Good, as long as we're clear." I turned to leave. "Wait," I stopped. "Why are you doing this?" Derek asked. "I get that you're angry. I get that we hurt you. But this is destruction." I turned back. "You used my house as a hotel. You slept with my wife in my bed. You helped her manipulate her way into a promotion. You gave her gifts with money that should have gone to your kids. And you did it all while pretending to be a good man, a family man, a professional. I made mistakes. You made choices. Now you get to live with them. Is there anything I can do to fix this? No. Please, I have kids. I have a career. I'll do anything." "Anything?" He nodded desperately. "Then testify. When Jessica tries to spin this as my fault, when she tries to claim I was abusive or controlling or paranoid, you tell the truth. Every detail, every lie, every manipulation. Okay, yes, I'll do that. And one more thing." "What?" "Admit what you did to your company. Write a formal statement. Take responsibility. Don't make them fire you. Quit first and explain why." Derek stared at me. "That'll ruin me." "You're already ruined. This way you get to keep a shred of dignity." He looked down at the divorce papers in his hands. "I loved her, you know? Jessica. I actually thought we had something real." "You didn't. She used you. Like she used me. Like she used everyone." "How did you find out?" "I paid attention." I walked down the porch steps. "Something you should try." I was halfway to my car when I heard Derek shout behind me. "You think you're better than me? You're just as bad. You surveilled your own wife. You invaded her privacy." I stopped, turned around. Derek was standing on his porch, face red, fists clenched. "I documented evidence of a crime," I said calmly. "There's a difference. You destroyed her career. She destroyed her own career. I just made sure everyone knew about it. You're a vindictive piece of—" He didn't finish the sentence because Amanda's car pulled up and parked behind mine. Amanda got out, looking calm and professional. She walked past me and straight up to Derek. "Sign the papers," she said. "Don't contest anything. Give me full custody. And get out of my house by Wednesday." "Amanda, please." "Sign the papers. Can we at least talk about this?" "We're done talking. You had 6 months to talk. You chose Jessica instead." "I'm sorry." "You're not sorry. You're caught." She looked at me. "Tyler, thank you for delivering these." "No problem." She turned back to Derek. "One more thing. The kids know." Derek went white. "You told them?" "I told them their father lied. I told them he broke our family. I told them the truth, because unlike you, I don't lie to the people I love." She walked back to her car, got in, drove away. Derek stood on his porch, holding the divorce papers, looking like the walls had finally finished closing in. I got in my car and left him there. 2 hours later, I got a text from Amanda. He signed everything. I texted back, "Good." Then I went home. Jessica wasn't there. She'd packed a bag and gone to her mother's house last night after the gala. She'd sent me a text this morning. "I need space to think." I texted back, "Take all the space you want. You're not living here anymore." She called me immediately. I declined the call. She called again. I declined again. She sent a text. "Tyler, we need to talk about this like adults." I responded, "We will, through lawyers." My phone rang a third time. This time I answered. Tyler, please. Jessica, stop. It's over. We've been married 8 years. You're going to throw that away? You already threw it away. I'm just acknowledging reality. I made a mistake. You made 100 mistakes, deliberately, over months, with planning and calculation. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? You used another man to cheat the system and advance your career. You lied to me every single day. You threatened Derek when he tried to end it. You manipulated Patricia into looking the other way. And when I found out, you tried to delete evidence. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern of behavior. She was crying. Tyler, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know. You're sorry you got caught. That's not true. Jessica, I watched the videos. I read the texts. I saw the photos. I know exactly who you are. And I don't want to be married to that person anymore. What about counseling? We could try therapy. No. Tyler, I'll have the divorce papers ready by Wednesday. You can pick up your things this weekend. I'll be at my brother's house. Don't take anything that isn't yours. This is my house, too. No, it's my house. The deed is in my name. The mortgage is in my name. You contributed to payments, and you'll get compensated for that. But you don't live here anymore. You can't just kick me out. I already did. The locks are changed. Your key doesn't work. Silence. Tyler, please, don't do this. It's already done. I hung up. My phone rang again. I turned it off. Then I sat in the house we'd built together and felt absolutely nothing. Monday morning, Jessica's world collapsed in meetings she didn't attend. I know this because Amanda had a friend who worked in the clinic's billing department. The friend texted updates throughout the day like she was live tweeting a disaster. 9:15 a.m. Emergency board meeting. Patricia and Jessica both got called in. 9:47 a.m. Jessica escorted out by security. Box of personal items, crying. 10:23 a.m. Patricia suspended pending investigation. 11:02 a.m. All staff email. Both terminated effective immediately. By lunch, it was over. 6 months of manipulation ended in 3 hours. I was at work when I got the text chain from Amanda's friend. I read them while sitting in my truck, eating a sandwich, feeling the kind of satisfaction that probably makes me a bad person. I didn't care. Derek's collapse took slightly longer, but was equally thorough. His company's HR department started their investigation at 8 a.m. By noon, they'd reviewed all the emails I'd sent them, the preferential pricing documentation, the conflict of interest evidence, the contract negotiations where Derek had clearly given Jessica's clinic an unfair advantage. At 2 p.m., Derek was called into a meeting with his supervisor and an HR representative. At 3 p.m., he was given a choice: resign immediately or be terminated for ethics violations. He resigned. Amanda called me at 3:30. Derek just called me, crying. He said it's all over. He lost his job. Good. Tyler, he's talking about... He said he doesn't know how he's going to support the kids. He's talking about bankruptcy, about losing the house. He should have thought of that before. I know, I almost feel bad for him. Don't. He knew the risks. He chose to take them anyway. She was quiet for a moment. You're right. He made his choice. How are you doing? Better than I expected. My lawyer says the divorce should be straightforward. Derek's not going to contest anything. He can't afford to. What about the kids? They're confused, angry, hurt, but they'll be okay. Kids are resilient. And you? I'm surviving. One day at a time. She paused. Tyler, thank you for everything, for telling me the truth, for helping me through this. You did the same for me. Still, you could have just divorced Jessica quietly. Let me figure it out on my own. But you didn't. You made sure they faced real consequences. They deserved real consequences. Yes, they did. We hung up. I finished my sandwich and went back to work. That evening, Jessica called me from a blocked number. I answered. What? Tyler, I lost my job. I know. They fired me, without warning, without due process. They just escorted me out like a criminal. You violated ethics policies. That's grounds for immediate termination. It wasn't my fault. Yes, it was. Derek pressured me. No, he didn't. I have the texts. You initiated everything. You threatened him when he tried to end it. Stop lying. Tyler, I can't afford rent now. I can't afford anything. I need help. That's not my problem. I'm your wife. Not for long. Oh, Tyler, please. I'm begging you. I made mistakes, but I don't deserve to lose everything. You lost everything when you decided to cheat on me and manipulate your way into a promotion. These are just the consequences finally catching up. I have nowhere to go. Go to your mother's. Go to your friends. Go to Derek's place. I don't care, but you're not coming back here. Tyler? I hung up. She called back immediately. I sent it to voicemail. She called 4 more times. Each time, I declined. Finally, she sent a text. You're going to regret this. I'll make sure of it. I screenshot the text and forwarded it to my lawyer with a note. Adding to evidence file. Into Tuesday morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls from Jessica and a notification that she'd shown up at my house at 2 a.m., ringing the doorbell repeatedly. I knew this because the cameras caught everything. She was drunk, crying, screaming about how I'd ruined her life, how I was vindictive and cruel, how she'd loved me and I'd destroyed her. The neighbors called the police. 2 officers showed up at 2:14 a.m. I have the footage of them talking to Jessica, who was sitting on my front porch, mascara streaked down her face. One of the officers came to the door and knocked. I answered in my pajamas, looking appropriately concerned and confused. Sir, do you know this woman? That's my wife. We're separated. She says you changed the locks and won't let her in her own house. The house is in my name. She moved out this weekend. I have documentation. Can I see it? I showed him the property deed, the separation notice, the texts where Jessica confirmed she'd packed her things and left. The officer nodded. Okay, we're going to ask her to leave. If she comes back, call us immediately. Thank you, officer. They escorted Jessica to her car. She drove away, tires squealing. I closed the door and went back to bed. The next morning, I got an email from Jessica's lawyer. Subject, proposed settlement discussion. I forwarded it to my lawyer with a note, not interested in discussions, full divorce, standard asset split, no alimony. My lawyer responded, understood, I'll handle it. Wednesday afternoon, Jessica's mother called me. Tyler, what did you do to my daughter? I divorced her. She's a mess. She's not eating, she's not sleeping. Then she should see a therapist. I'm not responsible for her mental health. You ruined her life. No, I documented her choices. There's a difference. She made a mistake. She made a calculated series of decisions over 6 months that destroyed our marriage and violated professional ethics. That's not a mistake. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. Something your daughter should try. I hung up. That evening, I got a text from an unknown number. You think you won. You didn't. She's coming for you. Watch your back. I screenshot it, forwarded it to my lawyer, added it to the evidence file. Then I poured a glass of whiskey and sat on my back porch, watching the sunset. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel vindictive. I just felt tired. But I also felt something else. Relief. Because for the first time in months, I wasn't living with a lie. Thursday afternoon, my lawyer called with news I wasn't expecting. Tyler, we have a problem. What kind of problem? Jessica's attorney just sent over a counterfiling. She's claiming you installed surveillance cameras without her consent. She's alleging invasion of privacy and emotional distress. I sat down. That's ridiculous. The cameras were installed for security. I told her about them. When did you tell her? The day I installed them. I showed her the front door camera. But did you tell her about all of them? I paused. I told her we had cameras. Plural. Did you specifically disclose all the locations? She knew they were there. Tyler, that's not the same as consent. Her attorney is arguing that you secretly surveilled her in her own home. For a legitimate reason? Which you only discovered after installing the cameras. Tyler, this could be a problem. If a judge believes you installed cameras specifically to spy on her, some of your evidence could be inadmissible. I thought about the timeline. I'd installed the cameras on a Sunday, told Jessica about the front one, she'd seen the hallway camera on Monday, but I'd never specifically told her about the 4th camera in the garage. What's her endgame? I asked. She's building a narrative. You're the controlling husband, the paranoid tech guy. You violated her privacy, and when she objected, you used the footage to destroy her career. That's not what happened. I know. But Tyler, narratives matter. If she can convince a judge that you're unstable or vindictive, she could argue for a larger asset split, maybe even claim you owe her for reputational damages. She ruined her own reputation. In court, it doesn't matter. What matters is what we can prove and how we frame it. I stood up and started pacing. What do we do? We need to prove you had legitimate reasons for installing the cameras. Do you have any documentation, receipts showing you bought them before you suspected the affair? I thought about it. The package theft. I'd mentioned it to Jessica weeks before. We'd talked about getting cameras. Can you prove that? Text messages. I sent her a link to the cameras on Amazon, asked if she thought we should get them. When? 3 weeks before I installed them. Perfect. Send me those texts. That establishes premeditation for a legitimate purpose, not surveillance. I found the texts and forwarded them. Then I had a thought. My lawyer, there's something else. On the day I installed the cameras, I posted about it on social media. Just a casual post about home security. It's time-stamped. Even better, screenshot it and send it to me. I did. Then I called Amanda. Amanda, did Derek ever tell Jessica I had cameras? I don't know. Why? Because Jessica's claiming I secretly surveilled her. But if Derek knew about the cameras before he came over, that means she knew too. Hold on. Let me check the text Derek gave me. I waited. Tyler, there's a text here from Jessica to Derek dated the Wednesday after you installed the cameras. She says, he put cameras up. Be careful. Use the side door. That's proof she knew. Yes. And there's another one 2 days later. Cameras are in front and hallway. Garage should be safe. She's been lying about not knowing. Yes. And I have the text to prove it. I called my lawyer back. I have proof Jessica knew about the cameras before she claimed she did. Text messages showing she warned Derek about them. Perfect. Send them to me immediately. I got the text from Amanda and forwarded them. My lawyer called back 10 minutes later. Tyler, this is excellent. Not only does this prove she knew about the cameras, it proves she was actively using that knowledge to hide her affair. That completely destroys her invasion of privacy claim. What about her emotional distress argument? Also gone. You can't claim emotional distress from being caught in an affair you were actively trying to conceal. If anything, her texts show consciousness of guilt. So we're okay? More than okay. Jessica's attorney just handed us additional evidence of her deception. We can use this to strengthen our case. That evening, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I answered cautiously. Tyler Grant? Yes? This is Samantha Cho. I'm an investigator with the State Medical Board. We received a complaint regarding Jessica Grant and Patricia Reeves. I understand you have evidence related to this matter. I do. We'd like to set up a formal interview. This is part of an investigation into potential ethics violations and licensing issues. When do you need me? Would Friday work? Yes. Perfect. I'll send you the details. After we hung up, I sat back and processed what had just happened. Jessica and Patricia weren't just losing their jobs, they were facing state licensing reviews. If the board found violations, they could lose their credentials permanently. My phone buzzed. A text from Jessica. Tyler, please, we need to stop this before it gets worse. Call me. I didn't respond. 5 minutes later, another text. I'll drop the privacy claim. Just please stop the investigation. I forwarded the text to my lawyer with a note. Is this witness tampering? He responded immediately. Potentially. Don't respond. Let me handle it. 20 minutes later, my lawyer called. Tyler, I just spoke with Jessica's attorney. They're withdrawing the counterfiling. They're also agreeing to your divorce terms with no modifications. Why? Because they know they can't win, and because Jessica's attorney probably explained that if she continues to fight, we'll bury her with evidence. What about the state investigation? That's separate. She can't stop that now. It's already in motion. Good. Tyler, I have to ask, what's your goal here? Is it justice or revenge? I thought about it. It's accountability. Okay. Just make sure you know where the line is, because once you cross it, you can't go back. I'm nowhere near the line. All right, then let's finish this. We hung up. I sat in the quiet house, thinking about Jessica's text, thinking about how desperate she must be to ask me to stop. I didn't feel bad. I felt vindicated, because for the first time in months, she was the one who couldn't control the narrative. She was the one facing consequences, and she was the one who had to live with her choices. Friday morning, 48 hours before the final pieces fell into place. I woke up at 5 a.m. and couldn't go back to sleep. I made coffee, sat at the kitchen table, and reviewed everything one more time. Camera footage, archived and backed up in 3 locations. Phone records, printed and organized, text messages, screenshot and indexed, financial documents, copied and filed, witness statements, secured from Amanda and Derek, state board interview, scheduled for this afternoon. Everything was ready. The machine I'd built was running on its own now. All I had to do was let it work. At 9 a.m., I met with the State Medical Board investigator. Samantha Cho was in her 40s, professional, efficient. She took my statement, reviewed the evidence, asked clarifying questions. The interview lasted 90 minutes. When we finished, she closed her notebook and looked at me. Mr. Grant, this is one of the most thoroughly documented ethics cases I've seen. You've done more investigative work than most law firms. I wanted to make sure everything was accurate. It is. We'll be moving forward with formal charges against both Ms. Grant and Ms. Reeves. The board will review their licenses and determine appropriate sanctions. What kind of sanctions? That depends on the hearing, but given the evidence, I'd expect license suspension at minimum, possibly revocation. I nodded. Thank you. Mr. Grant, can I ask you something off the record? Sure. Why did you go this far? Most people would have just divorced their spouse and moved on. I thought about how to answer. Because she didn't just betray me. She corrupted her profession, she used her position for personal gain and dragged other people into it. That's not just a marriage problem, that's a systemic problem. She studied me for a moment. You're right. It is. After the interview, I drove to my office and tried to focus on work. I couldn't. My mind kept running through scenarios for tomorrow. Tomorrow, Saturday, I was scheduled to pick up the last of my things from the house. Jessica had agreed to be there for a final exchange of property. My lawyer would be present, so would hers. It was supposed to be a quick, professional handoff. Sign papers, exchange keys, walk away. But I knew Jessica. She wouldn't go quietly. At 3 p.m., I got a text from Amanda. Derek's moving out tomorrow, too. His brother is helping him pack. He's a mess. I texted back, Good. Amanda, do you feel bad at all? Even a little? Me? No. Do you? Amanda, no. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one. That evening, I packed a bag and went to my brother's house across town. I was staying there for the weekend while Jessica finished moving out her belongings. My brother Kevin opened the door and handed me a bourbon. You look terrible. Thanks. How you holding up? Fine. Tyler, you just destroyed your wife's career and ruined her life. You're allowed to feel something about it. I took a drink. I feel relief. That's it? Just relief? What else should I feel? Kevin sat down. I don't know. Anger, sadness, guilt? I felt angry when I found out. I felt sad when I realized what she'd become. I don't feel guilty at all. Not even a little? No, she made her choices. I just made sure those choices had consequences. Kevin shook his head. You always were the coldest person I know. Cold is underrated. We sat in silence for a while. Kevin finally asked, What's next? I finished the divorce. Sell the house, start over. That simple? That's simple. And Jessica? Jessica figures out her own life, without me in it. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. You're going to regret this. All of it. I showed Kevin. He frowned. Is that her? Probably, or one of her friends. Aren't you worried? About what? She has no power over me anymore. Tyler, she could escalate. False accusations, restraining orders, legal games. Let her try. I have more evidence than she has lies. Kevin looked at me seriously. You know you're not the hero in this story, right? I never said I was. Then what are you? I'm the guy who got tired of being furniture. Kevin raised his glass. Fair enough. We drank until midnight. Then I went to sleep on his couch, phone on silent, mind finally quiet. Tomorrow, it would all be over. Saturday, 10 a.m. The house felt like a crime scene being processed. My lawyer, Jessica's lawyer, a mediator, and 2 witnesses, all standing in our living room while Jessica and I avoided looking at each other. Jessica looked terrible. Makeup couldn't hide the dark circles under her eyes. Her hands shook when she signed papers. She'd lost weight, lost composure, lost everything. I felt nothing watching her fall apart. My lawyer laid out the separation agreement on the kitchen table. This is the final division of assets. Everything is as previously agreed. The house goes to Mr. Grant with compensation to Ms. Grant for her portion of equity. Bank accounts split 50-50. Retirement accounts divided per state law, no alimony, no contested items. Jessica's lawyer nodded. My client agrees to all terms. Ms. Grant, do you understand and agree to these terms? The mediator asked. Jessica's voice was barely a whisper. Yes. Mr. Grant. Yes. Then we'll proceed with signatures. I signed first. Clean signature. No hesitation. Jessica picked up the pen. Her hand shook. She looked at me one more time, eyes pleading. I looked away. She signed. That concludes the property settlement, the mediator said. Ms. Grant, you have until 5 p.m. today to remove your remaining personal items. Mr. Grant will not be present. Is that clear? Yes, Jessica whispered. Mr. Grant, you'll return at 5 p.m. to verify all items have been removed? Yes. Then we're done here. The lawyers and mediator packed up their papers. Jessica's lawyer touched her shoulder gently, said something quiet, and led her toward the door. Jessica stopped at the threshold and turned back to me. Tyler, Don't. I just want you to know I'm sorry. Really sorry. Okay. That's it? Just okay. What do you want me to say, Jessica? I want you to forgive me. No. She flinched. After 8 years, I don't deserve even that? After 8 years of loyalty, you didn't deserve what you did. So no, you don't get forgiveness. I made a mistake? Stop calling it a mistake. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is bouncing a check. What you did was deliberate, calculated, and sustained over months. That's not a mistake. That's who you are. Her face crumpled. I'm not a bad person. Yes, you are. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start fixing it. She stood there, tears streaming down her face, waiting for me to take it back. To soften, to give her something. I didn't. Finally, she turned and walked out the door. I watched her get in her car and drive away. Then I locked the door and sat down in the empty house. It was over. At 4 p.m., I got a call from Amanda. Tyler, you need to see this. See what? Jessica just posted on social media. It's bad. I opened Jessica's Facebook page. There was a long post written an hour ago, the kind of post people write when they've given up on dignity. I want everyone to know the truth about Tyler Grant. He surveilled me without my knowledge. He invaded my privacy. He destroyed my career out of spite. He turned my friends against me. He's vindictive, controlling, and dangerous. If you know him, be careful. He's not who you think he is. 300 reactions. 80 comments. Most of them were sympathetic to her. I'm so sorry you went through this. Stay strong. You deserve better. But some were skeptical. Why would he do all that without a reason? There's always two sides. This seems like there's more to the story. I screenshot the post and sent it to my lawyer. He called immediately. Tyler, don't respond. This is defamation, but engaging will only make it worse. I'm not going to respond. Good. Let her dig her own hole. She already did. I closed the app and put my phone away. At 5 p.m., I returned to the house. Jessica's things were gone. The closets were empty. The bathroom was cleared out. The house felt bigger without her presence. I walked through every room, checking for things she might have missed. In the guest room closet, behind the storage boxes, I found the burner phone. She'd left it. Whether on accident or as a gesture, I didn't know. I didn't care. I took it to the garage and smashed it with a hammer. Then I threw the pieces in the trash. That evening, I got a call from Samantha Cho. Mr. Grant, I wanted to update you on the board investigation. What's the status? Both Ms. Grant and Ms. Reeves have been issued formal charges. Their hearings are scheduled for next month. Based on the evidence, the board is recommending license suspension for Ms. Grant and license revocation for Ms. Reeves. Why is Reeves worse? Because she was in a supervisory position and actively enabled the misconduct. The board takes that very seriously. Thank you for the update. Mr. Grant, I also want to thank you. People like you, people who actually document and report this kind of misconduct, are why we can maintain professional standards. Most people just walk away and let it continue. I'm not most people. No, you're not. We hung up. I poured a drink and sat on the back porch. My phone buzzed with texts throughout the evening. Friends checking in, family asking if I was okay, colleagues who'd heard rumors. I responded to a few, ignored most. At 11 p.m., I got one final text from Jessica. I hope you're happy now. You took everything from me. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, No, you took everything from yourself. I just made sure everyone saw it. I didn't send it. Instead, I deleted the message and blocked her number. She didn't deserve the last word. She didn't deserve anything from me anymore. I finished my drink and went inside. The house was quiet, empty, mine. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe.